Skyrim is a very successful game and a very beloved game. It is filled with many quests that the player can partake in. Unfortunately, not all the quests are good. I did two videos on my most favorite quests from the game, and today I'll be counting down my least favorite quests from the game. My picks will be controversial as a few of the picks I have on the list are very beloved by the fan base, and I just want to say that these are just my opinion and nothing more. So let's get into it. These are my top 5 worst Skyrim quests and Questlines. At number 5, I have the Civil War questline, the Stormcloak side. On one of my previous lists, the Imperial side made it on there, as I played through both sides and I like the Imperial side a lot more, as in my opinion, it feels like it benefits Skyrim more than the Stormcloak side. Both sides have a similar story. You're trying to win control of the land to make it a better place for your side and for the people of Skyrim. The Stormcloak side, well, it really just feels like you're making it a better place for Ulfric. Many NPCs in the game have criticized Ulfric's decisions regarding recent events and flat out speak ill of him in front of the player. And even in the end, nothing really changes. In my opinion, Skyrim is worse off with Ulfric winning rather than Tullius winning. But there's more to come in this list. Because at number 4, we have the Dawn Guard. I now know that the Dawn Guard questline did make it on my first Skyrim list, but I just want to say this is just the vampire side. On that other list, I meant mainly more for the Dawn Guard side to be on there. But in my opinion, the vampire side for the Dawn Guard questline is probably the worst part of the DLC. As for me, it just doesn't really make sense towards the end and just kind of got boring halfway through. Not to mention being a vampire lord wasn't all that it's cracked up to be. Personally, I would rather be with the Dawn Guard, as it feels like they have better equipment, better armor, and just kind of feel better when you join them in the first place rather than the vampires. At number 3, we have the Dark Brotherhood. I'm not gonna make any friends with this pick. Personally, I've only beaten the Dark Brotherhood questline twice, and I found it boring both times. Now, it may not be the worst questline in the game, but it just is kind of boring. Most of the characters are just uninteresting to me, and it just has such a boring beginning. It does have a few saving graces though with the ending. Now keep in mind I'm gonna be spoiling the end of the quest line, so if you haven't played it yet, I would advise you to skip this part. But towards the end, you are sent to kill the Emperor, Titus Mead II, and in retaliation for you doing this, he asks you to kill the person that ordered his death, which to me, I think that is the best form of karma right there. But other than that, the questline was kind of boring. Now, you do get a few rewards for completing the questline, you do get some interesting armor and apparel items, and you get Cicero as a follower. Although I'm not too much of a huge fan of Cicero, he's kind of one of my least favorite characters in the entire game. But that's enough rambling, because at number 2, we have one of the other DLC coming up, and that one is the Dragonborn questline. I was hyped for this DLC when I first began playing it. Now, the first time I got to experience the Dragonborn DLC was when I got my own copy of this game back in 2018. I have already traveled to Solstheim on previous adventures, but I never really did the story. I just wanted to explore it. And I did the story because I knew that there were a few achievements that you can get through completing the story and doing a few miscellaneous things. And so I beat the story, and well, it was extremely disappointing. I know quality over quantity, but for one, the quest felt way too short. I think there were only 7 main quests in the main DLC, and compared to the Dawn God, that one had, I think, a little over 10. And to me, it just felt that Dawn God was more complete than Dragonborn. And that's not to say that the Dragonborn DLC doesn't add anything new. The fact that we get to return to Solstheim again was pretty interesting. We got some new armor and some new enemies to fight, and it had a decent story at least, but it just felt way too short and was just kind of disappointing. But it wasn't all that bad. Besides, the only really quest lines I hated were just the Civil War quest line, the Dark Brotherhood, and our number 1 pick. Yeah, this is the Thieves Guild quest line, my number 1 pick. To me, this is the worst quest line in the entire game, and the worst faction in the entire game. Now, I only really completed this one for the achievements, and I thought that it'd be pretty cool because I heard that you could go on heists in this quest line, and you find some interesting stuff, but what is really ticked me off is just the Nightingale stuff. For one, the Nightingale stuff was just kind of boring, and then they try to make it seem that they're like some sort of special group that just follows one of the gods and goddesses in the game, which I forgot what her name is, because I just flat out did not care about this quest line anymore. And I did beat it. It was underwhelming. To be honest, the Dragonborn questline was much better than this one. And even after beating it, there was other stuff I could do with the Thieves Guild, such as restoring them to their former glory, and I just flat out did not care about them anymore. They were just extremely boring. It felt like they didn't really add anything to the story, and that's all I really have to say. Thank you all for viewing the video, though. I know it's been a while since I've done a gaming video, and I hope to do more in May. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.